All right, and we're actually back. Good morning, here in Del Rio, Texas. God
What's
bless
up,
you,
brother?
Oh, doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just getting coffee going through my veins, and I don't know if that's what it really happens, but anyway, that's coffee going through my veins, and having my first cup this morning, and so we're back, man. I know we had a couple of weeks layoff with the elections and everything, and all this other stuff going on, and traveling and whatnot. But we're here. Praise the Lord. It's a day that He has made, and so we honor the Lord and give Him all the thanks and all the praise for life, man.
For another day, bro, another chance to get it right, to get right with the Lord.
Yeah.
Obviously, and just to be a positive impact, a powerful impact in the lives of those that we love, Manny, our friends, our family, in our marriages, with our children.
Yeah.
And so, look, man, if you woke up this morning in America, you're still free. And I kind of cringe a little bit, man, because there's people that you get down into nuances.
Yeah.
And well, Frank,
are we really free? Yeah.
exactly. Bro. You could, man. I mean, that's the one thing. You want to drive yourself crazy? Get inside my head for a little while, because there's a lot of bunny trails we can go down. But it is a good day, bro. We are free in America. We see that freedom being encroached upon, of course, by greed, corruption. Clueless politicians, and so, puppets of the globalists. And so, the fight continues, Manny.
Yeah.
But we are free in America. We just have to fight for that freedom. And what I mean by that is, you got to get involved. You got to get involved in your local races. We're in the middle of primary runoff season.
Yep.
All over the state of Texas, and certainly, whatever other states voted on Super Tuesday this past Tuesday. There's a lot of runoffs, a lot of rhinos.
Yeah, a lot of rhinos.
Got kicked out or hanging on by un
thread.
pelito, como dicen in Spanish, un pelito. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and what's happening around the world.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Frank, and all the stuff that is happening, man. I mean, I think there's still 3 states. I mean, Trump is more than likely the nominee, right? But there's 3 presidential primaries that are still going on. I think this week as well. And praise the Lord that. Trump is going to be the nominee, it looks like, and I just pray that people get behind him. I pray that the Republican Party become united, because many times the Republican Party is its own worst enemy. Yeah. And as far as the Democrats go, folks, I don't even know why people continue to still vote Democrat. It drives me insane, Frank. It drives me insane. I look at the news and I see all the complaints that these Democratic leaders, even on the border, regarding the border invasion, the crisis, but nobody's asking. None of these Democratic leaders are asking for any of these illegal aliens to be deported. They just keep asking for more money, more resources, and it's sad to say, Frank, that these resources, no matter how much money we throw at this issue, as long as we don't enforce our laws, it's not going to happen. I mean, this invasion is not going to go away.
And look, man, we could just go all over the place on this, man. A couple of things, as far as the unity thing. Look, man, there's still people, call themselves Republicans, would even consider themselves conservatives that hate Trump, bro. They're just not going to unite behind him, at least now. Now, when it comes down to voting day, well, people are going to have to make that decision, 4 more years of Biden, or go back to, when the border was secure, go back to when our, economy was freaking booming, man.
Yeah.
That's when part of the in the time frame that I retired, and so my TSP was doing all right, But that's part of it. The other aspect of it is you talk about unity, man. Just look at the outcome of the CD23 race. Hey, look, folks, y'all know I was running for Congress. I'm not in the runoff. A guy by the name of Brandon Herrera is in the runoff against Tony Gonzalez. But look at the folks that still went out and voted for Tony Gonzalez in our district, brother.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
45% of the electorate, those that turned out to vote, not the whole electorate, obviously, but those that went out to vote, 45%, about 25,000, still voted for Tony Gonzalez. They bought into his lies. They bought into his hypocrisy. They bought into his thuggish behavior, bro. And so now this guy, Brandon Herrera, has to, pull it off.
Hopefully he pulls it off. Hopefully we get Tony Gonzalez out of there, bro.
We got to get rid of Tony Gonzalez.
We got to, man. I mean, he's nothing but a Democrat in Republican clothing, and he's worse than a rhino. The guy. Anyway, we can go on and on about it, but there's a lot going on, folks, and so I'm getting behind Brandon Herrera on this one. again, and voting against Tony Gonzalez. He needs to get out of office, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've been speaking with Brandon a little bit, brother. It's customary, election's over, what's going to happen. But hey, let's not forget, Tony Gonzalez and his behavior here. And so what he has done, his anti-conservative, anti-America, anti-God legislation, anti-God. He voted for against the Defense of Marriage Act. He voted for government encroachment into the bedroom, and of course against the Word of God. He voted against the Second Amendment.
And against the border security package, yeah?
Yeah, bro, he pushed back in the border security package, and then he turns around, runs around, says he's all for this. People see through him. 55% of the CD23 electorate that voted in the primary, bro, said no to Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And so
hopefully those same people come back.
Well, and that's the hard part, bro.
That's the hard part.
Just got off the phone with Brandon yesterday, actually, and that is a part of the difficulty of post-election, especially in a runoff, because you got to get the people that went out and voted to come back to the polls.
Yeah.
But now there's a different element that's inserted into the runoff, which is only those people that voted in this case Republican primary can vote, or those who didn't vote at all.
Yeah.
Can come and vote in the Republican primary runoff races across the state. The danger with that, of course, Manny, is that Tony Gonzalez is known to heavily recruit Democrats to come and vote for him. He's done it in Bexar County. He did it in Maverick County again just last week. And so you all know that Tony Gonzalez is going to be heavily recruiting, the diehard, far left, anti-God Democrats to come and vote for him.
And the problem is, the thing is that they don't have any problem voting for him because he's already gone their way.
Democrat.
He's a Democrat. He's gone their way. He voted for the January 6th commission, turned around and now opposed it. Apparently, so he says. But voted with Pelosi, voted with Democrats, and folks, he's just.
You voted for the January 6th commission, man. We still got people in prison because of that.
We sure do.
And so, of course, he wants you to forget all that, and we can't, man. We gotta continue remembering, how devastating this guy has been to our border regions. He's allowed this invasion to happen on his watch. He continues to blame Biden, bro. There's things he could have done. For one thing. Say no to flying them out of Laughlin Air Force Base into the interior of the country. And these illegal aliens are now affecting our communities. God only knows how many of those people that flew out of Laughlin Air Force Base because Tony Gonzalez allowed it, how many of those illegal alien invaders have hurt, have injured, have stolen, have committed crimes, have committed assaults, rapes, robberies, murders.
Yeah.
God only knows, man.
God only knows.
And eventually, at some point or another, as law enforcement investigates crimes happening in the interior of our country, at some point or another, I have no doubt, Manny, that in the future, some of them will be traced right back to having been flown out of Laughlin Air Force Base right here in Del Rio, Texas.
And I don't doubt it, Frank. I mean, look at this headline. I'm going to put it up here real quick. Because a lot of them came out of this area. These bloodthirsty Venezuelan gangs, Tren de Aragua sets up shop.
Tren de Aragua.
In the Tren de Aragua sets up shop in the United States as border authorities sound the alarm. So now all of a sudden they're sounding the alarm that we're having a problem with these Venezuelan gangs, right? Yeah. All of a sudden now, but the reality is, folks, this has been a problem, and this is what I see happening now, Frank. These Venezuelan gangs are going to start taking over in certain areas, and guess what? They're going to start encroaching on other territories, other gang territories like MS-13, the cartels that are already here.
Oh yeah,
all these other things, and so I think we're going to yep, exactly. We're going to start seeing a rise in turf wars and gang violence, and other things. And then we had some years ago here coming through Del Rio as well, those 15,000 Haitians that were here as well. And I don't know if people see what's going on in Haiti, bro.
Yeah.
Have you seen what's going on? Oh, my gosh. If you haven't read the news, this is disastrous, man.
Disaster. Throw something up there about Haiti. Look up Haiti barbecue.
Bro, I just did. I'm going to pull it up right now.
It's kind of funny, man. Well, not funny. Look, you guys know, man, Manny and I, former, military, Army, Border Patrol, 25, 30 years. Manny served longer in the military. There's a hard edge to us sometimes when it comes to humor.
Yeah.
And we kind of chuckle and laugh at things that most people would kind of cringe and be horrified and melt away at.
If my wife were sitting right here, she'd like, just stop it. Because it is ironic, bro. Look at it. I mean, was having a gang leader named Barbecue. Named Barbecue is now the most powerful man in Haiti, as the United States is starting to evacuate Americans from the U.S. Embassy.
So a couple of things are real quick, bro. Before I forget, let's not forget, of course, the name Barbecue. But this guy is in power in Haiti because Clinton started a lot of this, man.
Yes,
They're involving in Haiti.
Yep.
But then, of course, look, we've said it over and over again, man. We got the entities, man, agencies within the federal government, our government, and shadow government organizations that are running around, and like the TED, and we can talk about the TED later, but they are involved with nation building, bro. They're involved with assassinations, with the placement of leaders around the world, brother. And this is partly financed by American taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
And so what ends up happening, we see the full circle. And we started screaming about this. Remember when we were down here on Rio Grande Lane, down there, Frontera Road, where the maquiladora industry is here in Del Rio. The Haitians were pouring across, or were behind the fences. And we were walking around filming them, and I remember saying, look at their body language, look at their eyes, look at the way that they're huddling, the way that it was criminalistic body language, criminalistic behavior, brother. And so now we have elements of that in our country. We've said it over and over again, and people are going to call us racist and all kinds of stuff, brother. These people, invaders, illegal aliens, as they come into our country, they are bringing their ideology, their worldview, or religion, or lack of religion. You know, a bunch of these Caribbean folks are into freaking voodoo and all kinds of stuff.
The thing is, too, Frank, is that they're also coming over here for their opportunity to run their organizations to make more money.
Because Americans are soft.
Exactly.
They see many Americans as soft.
Yeah, look how MS-13 started, right? MS-13 is not. Most of them are from El Salvador now, but the majority of them. MS-13 didn't start in El Salvador. It started here in the United States. Salvadoreños came over here illegally. They learned the ways of the gangs, and then when they got deported, they started their gangs there. Yep. And MS-13 was born, and then now then they started coming back to seize opportunities here in the United States and to run their organization. Became the worst and most violent gang in the United States. But now the competition is coming in, and what's so ironic about this guy named Barbecue is he's the leader of a cannibal gang.
Yep.
A cannibal gang, and now he's in charge basically over there in Haiti. I think over 80%, they control over 85% of the capital right now, and they're actually attacking people and eating people in the streets, killing and eating people in the streets. And the gang leader's name is Barbecue.
And so that's why we go into this aspect, bro. And I'm just, this is a,
bro, I thought it was like a movie when I first.
Like a movie, man. Some kind of tragic comedy or comedic tragedy, whatever you want to call it. But there's a reason this guy is called Barbecue, brother, because he kills his opponents.
He kills
rival gang members. And look, this is not the first time we've seen this kind of stuff. And do not lose sight of this. These types of people with this worldview from that part of the world and all around the world that are not Americans, don't understand the American way of life, are in our country. They're in our country, but the reason, as soon as I saw Barbecue, I told my wife, why? Because he roasts his enemies.
He roasts his enemies,
the first time we've seen it, brother. Remember down in South Texas, with all the satanic worship, the gangs down there. Man, this was back, in the 90s?
Yeah.
In the 90s, brother. People were horrified when they found out about that UT Austin kid that was killed and sacrificed as part of a, demonic, barbaric, ritual to protect the drug cartel organizations from law enforcement, from detection. And part of what happens, brother, as these people descend down the road of lunacy, down this road of demonic behavior, brother, it is not uncommon, Manny, as you look at that, for cannibalism to be introduced into part of their rituals, etc. And look, man, this is a gang leader. Partly has a lot to do with American intervention in Haiti, brother. Instead of stopping the money that continuously gets into the hands of corrupt foreign officials, brother, that's what Congress should be doing. And that's what we're going to hold our elected officials' feet to the fire. Stop the money from hemorrhaging from pouring out of our American taxpayer pockets, going to corrupt nations, corrupt officials like barbecue over in Haiti, bro.
Insane,
and so look, even down here in Mexico, bro, what did they call the concoction? What did they call the cartels whenever they would kill enemies or even just innocent people? They would throw them in vats and barrels of acid, and what do they call it? Guisado.
Guisado, yes.
Guisado, bro, which is a Spanish term for like stew, man.
Yeah.
And so look, these are real things that happen, and evil is afoot in the world.
And people can criticize what we're saying, like this can't be real. But here on the border for years, they're also on the border, and they're still dealing with it. Dealing with Santa Muerte here.
Santa Muerte, the Holy Death.
The Holy Death, where I remember illegal aliens coming through that we would bust with drugs and whatnot. They would have these little monitos, the little statues of the Santa Muerte saint, right, in their vehicles because they thought it would turn them invisible. And we couldn't see what they were carrying or what they were smuggling. Folks, this is real stuff that happens, man. This is real stuff that happens on the border. And guess what? A lot of these people are here. They worship death. And so I say this, I brought this up regarding because we have these thousands and hundreds of thousands of Haitians come through here that people made way for. And many people think that mindset, that ideology just leaves them. That just it goes away from them, but we see the reality. We see the Venezuelans that are here already, and they've already formed gangs. And they're operating like they did in Venezuela.
And these are things we've said, brother. Look, man, we've been out here screaming. I know that I went hoarse at times out here, about to bust a vein somewhere. But anyways, these are people that are coming into our country, Manny, with their worldview. And not just their worldview, their ideology, lack of work ethic, brother, criminalistic behavior. The way that they deal with problems is also part of who they are. Let me just give you an example. Look, in our relationships, we're supposed to deal with disgusto, with disagreements a certain way, talk it out, talk about it. Yeah, you might get upset, angry, etc. But you don't resort to violence. That is outside the norm to resort to violence in dealing with relationships. These people will hack you off with a machete, they will cut your head off. A lot of folks, not everybody, obviously. We got to be careful with the absolutes. Yeah. But there are people, brother, who immediately resort to violence. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about this video series that I like to watch, Active Self-Defense.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And so active self-protection, this guy goes on and uses videos from around the world to teach self-defense principles and offensive self-defense principles. And part of his bank of videos come from South America. They come from, Africa. They come from around the world outside the United States. It's, usually about 60-70% outside the U.S., where he grabs this video to teach us here. But we were talking about the homicide rate. Remember that, folks? I would tell you, look at the homicide rates for these countries. And Venezuela was usually 1 or 2. Because that's the way they do it. Now they're in our country, no news to us. We've been talking about it, saying it is kind of a little bit, just kind of makes you just shake your head and give one of these, pobrecito kind of chuckle. Folks that are finally catching on, finally waking up. Better late than never. But it's one of these things of, man, we just had a megaphone, bullhorn big enough to shout this out. And what do I mean by that? Just to have the social media footprint out there to get the message. God, people that have been following us know that we have been talking about the drastic consequences. As soon as Biden opened up the gates in 2021, right after he got sworn in, we had the border symposium here in Del Rio. We started sounding the alarm, and this is what we talk about. People laugh, people mock, people sneer, people think we don't have a clue what we're talking about. They call us crazy. But the thing about it, Manny, is we're speaking the truth. We're warning our fellow Americans. This is only going to get worse. And so, yesterday some guy bowed up on me, online as far as, what do you mean Haitian invasion? When these people started pouring across, it wasn't just about the numbers that were pouring across, Manny. It was about their behavior, their way of dealing with problems, their way of life, the way that they see us, how they are going to, dominate what they see as a weaker group of people. When I'm talking about that, bro, I'm talking about the snowflakes in America, brother. Yeah. I'm talking about those folks that have been indoctrinated, by the far left, by the political correctness, wokeness movement that has weakened us, not just, our children in school, indoctrination, all that, all the way up to the military, all the way up to the branches of government, brother. We have been weakened by the far left agenda. And so at the community level, at the local level, these types of gangs, Manny, we said it, they're going to start popping up. You'll see as they run around trying to acquire weapons. There's y'all may have noticed or not, I don't know, maybe, just sending this out, but I'm going to say it. There's a lot of law enforcement that takes their vehicles home.
Yes.
They take their vehicles home, and what do they leave in their vehicles? Their weapons, brother. Their weapons. Hey, look, common knowledge down here on the border. We all know it. We all see it. And some people say, well, don't say that, Frank. Hey, look, people know that. And so these gangs are going to look for easy targets like that. Once they get empowered, brother, don't be surprised if you see coordinated hits on smaller police departments, on small communities. Look, we're already seeing it. Go out to the big cities of the West and East Coast. What are you seeing? Gangs running around doing these runs on stores. Yep. Man, just because they're criminals doesn't mean that they're freaking not smart. They know how to target and attack.
You're exactly right. That's one of the reasons why I didn't drive around with law enforcement stickers on my vehicle either, because they target. You see those stickers? If you hey, there's a 1 in 2 chance, 50-50 chance that this guy may have a weapon inside the vehicle, so they break in.
Yep.
Or we have equipment in there because guys leave their equipment in there too.
Yep.
But POV, I mean my personal vehicle. And so I look at this. Okay, so this guy blows up on you, and it's okay. Granted, maybe. I'm not going to say 100% of these Haitians that came in here.
Not all of them
were terrible, but I will tell you this: evil people see opportunity.
Yep.
The adversary is an opportunist, right? And so they will take advantage of these opportunities and send within them. I can't tell you how many times, Frank, and I'm sure you experience it. Agents experience it all the time. We get a group of illegals coming through, trabajadores, workers that are going to go work the field. But within them, 1 or 2, sometimes a handful, would have drugs on them, would have evil intent among them, because they mix them in and they see these opportunities. Sometimes we would get what we call a courtesy load, where at the checkpoints or whatever. I'm not trying to give away all kinds of secrets, but the reality is sometimes we get a courtesy load, a small amount of drugs, so the bigger load could come through. Yeah. And it's all about distraction. So then these cartels, they'd send over all these family units, so Border Patrol can get busy with and stay busy with all these family units and processing them. And then around the back door, they send in their real load,
whether it was drugs or children
or whatever, or to set up shop. Right, to set up shop here in the United States. And folks, it's not just Mexico that does it. South America does it. Haiti does it. Yep. And so we look at what's happening here as well. And don't think that's not going to happen. It can't happen in our communities, folks. It's happening in our communities. Yep. We're seeing it right before our eyes happening in our communities. And what other and why not take advantage, Frank? I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate here. Why not take advantage? These illegals right now are given free health care. Yep. They're given free room and board. They're handed money. Billions of dollars have been spent on them. They're kicking our kids out of school. They're kicking our veterans out of the shelters. They're kicking our homeless out of shelters to house illegal aliens. And these same illegal aliens, these military-age men that are coming in here and taking advantage of our system, our weak criminal justice system, because now we see the repercussions of this. So I'm segueing into Laken Riley, and Biden, her name is Laken Riley, not Lincoln Riley. Okay. I was so, dude, I couldn't even watch. I
didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. I turned like two minutes of it, and that's all I could take.
Yeah,
that's all I could take, bro. And I'm not a huge fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm not a huge fan of her, but I appreciate how she stood up in his face and said, "Hey, say her name," and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And then he goes on and he calls the State of the Union her murderer, an illegal immigrant, and the right and the conservatives. We were up in arms because he mispronounced her name. He didn't even know her name. But the left, they came to the defense of her murderer, bro. Yeah. They came to the defense of her murderer, and then he goes because Biden called him an illegal immigrant, which he is, right? Yep. He's actually an illegal alien. He's not an illegal immigrant. It's an illegal alien. But anyway, because they called him illegal, the left gets all up in arms, and the Democrats get all up in arms against Biden about it. And then Biden goes on MSNBC, brother, and he apologizes, not for mispronouncing Laken Riley's name, but he apologizes for calling this murderer an illegal alien.
Yeah, bro. And look, that's that's what the left does, bro. They apologize for America being great. They apologize for doing the right thing. They apologize for what is, they will be apologists. They will rise up in defense of the insanity of the left. And when I say, when I use the term Democrat, man, in general, I'm talking about the Democrat agenda. I'm talking about, diehard Democrat leaders, etc. Because part of our effort has been to educate, create awareness, because there are people right now that call themselves Democrat, that once they start digging into the agenda, etc., of the left, the platform of the Democrat, they're horrified, bro, because their platform, and we've shown it here before, it talks about, increase accessibility to the murder of children, increase accessibility to the mutilation of the bodies of little boys and girls. So I've always said it, look, man, how can you endorse that? How can you align yourself with that? How can you, hey, look, well, down here, local politics, it's just the way we got to run. No. But look, man, we carry sticks here. We bash, here and there. I'm not going to bash too much on this aspect because, and what I mean by that is there are people right now that are running as Democrats who I know. And for some reason they say, look, this is the way I got to run. Well, there's a lot of folks Democrat officials, bro, that took the step and they say, you know what, I'm no longer running with the Democrat Party, and they've left the Democrat Party. They're running as Republicans now. Now, that's not to say that the Republican Party itself is the utopia. No. As we all know, bro, look at the guy we're trying to get rid of. And that, I got to say here real quick, somebody said, right here, made a comment that Tony's well known because of his work ethic. What? Tony doesn't have a work ethic. Tony is a liar. He's a hypocrite. If his money can't buy it, he ain't going to do it. Because that's all he does. He is a corrupt, feckless, moralless, spineless coward. And so, look, we can't come on the show here, please.
Tell me how you really feel there.
Don't defend Tony Gonzalez. He's a failure as a man and a failure as a human being. And he has failed not just the party, not just the Constitution, but he has also failed the Word of God. And so, look, I just had to say that out there. Tony Gonzalez needs to get kicked out of office. He is part of the reason that this has happened. And so that's the thing, Manny, that there's this demonic hunger on the left and throughout the world, actually, on the left and the right, because there's people that are involved with the trafficking of little boys and little girls. And we can't lose sight of that, man. We can't lose sight that there is already this market, this demand in America, and that's why little American boys and girls disappear. Teenagers disappear, brother, because people want their bodies, man. And then as these people get into the depravity, they descend into more depravity, and that's why we end up with people like barbecue, out here running around.
When the scriptures, of course, talk about all this as well, and how these things happen. Sodom and Gomorrah was judged because of their depravity and whatnot, and there was actually
sacrifices to Molech, etc.
Right, and there's actually cannibalism that had happened as well, where people, were eating other people, and King Solomon said, and there's nothing new under the sun, but when you see it happening right before your eyes and people don't do anything about it, for instance, I remember reading one interview from a Holocaust survivor out of Auschwitz, and she said that she saw people and she heard people within her own city, other Jews, packing up, leaving, trying to get out of Germany at the time, and they were pretty well off, she said, at that point in time in her life. But she thought, why should I leave? I'm necessary. We're necessary for the economic success of Germany, and they won't come for us. They won't come for us. But then she said, they came for us.
Yep.
And folks, we see this happening right before our very eyes, where they're coming for our rights. The Biden administration is now trying to pass a bill where they want illegal aliens to vote, right? And non-citizens to vote in our elections, which doesn't happen in any other country, right? And they want illegal aliens to serve on law enforcement, which doesn't happen in any other country. For what reason? You have to ask yourself, why is this happening? Why are they doing these things? And the reality is, folks, they want to stay in power.
Yep.
People get this quote wrong all the time of the scripture that, money's the root of all evil, but it's the love of money.
Love of money.
The love of money, that's the root of all evil. And we see that. Because just a few years ago, less than a decade ago, Biden and even Obama were against illegal immigration. Now they're for open borders, right? Why? Why the sudden change?
It's all about power, bro. And so look, what's going to happen in 2030? Another census is going to come up.
Yep.
So we just, we're 4 years into this, 10-year period. The last census was 2020. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, man. That's why I had such an issue, Manny, with Governor Abbott busing and flying people into the interior of the country. I'll look for it here, and then I'll shoot it over.
It was like a catch-22 per se, because so he said, yeah, okay, we're sending a message to these sanctuary cities, but now you're flooding these sanctuary cities with people who are going to basically turn everything blue in the census.
Well, and so there's long-term effects to this. What we need to look at, and there was a quote, a Twitter blast, or whatever you want to call it. Elon Musk put something out about this, and he talked about the demographic change, the change is going to come in the U.S. House of Representatives, and the change is going to happen with the Electoral College with the 2030 census. So Elon Musk, throw this out. Hey, look, it's going to have long-term effects, and we're like, yes, that's we've been screaming and saying that, brother. That's why this invasion needed to be stopped immediately as soon as it started happening. That's why we went out to places like Carrizo Springs and we said, Governor Abbott, shut this down. I'll say it as well. These people that just died in this helicopter crash, Manny, did not have to die.
No, they didn't.
Had Biden done his job, secure the border, had Tony Gonzalez not been a prostitute for the big money, and had Governor Abbott shut down the border, bro, this would not have had to happen. Oh, people are going to freaking, be horrified, and you can hear the gasps of horror out there in the gallery. I don't care. It's the truth. We saw that our laws were not being, followed. We saw that the Constitution was being disregarded.
Yep.
It's toilet paper to them. And so at that time, self-survival, self-preservation kicks in, brother. And as a nation, we have to survive. We have to fight to live another day. So when we saw our systems crashing to the ground, as they try to break us economically, as they indoctrinate and pervert our children's minds, as they war against the American way of life, brother, self-preservation should have kicked in. Governor Abbott should have got these people, rounded them up, and taken them to the port of entry and said, you're not going to cross the river illegally here in Texas.
Yeah.
If you want to come into Texas, you think you have an asylum claim, refugee claim, humanitarian, whatever, you go to a port of entry, you do it the right way. He should have done that at the beginning, and these three people would not have died, because as soon as the word got out, folks, that Texas was going to hold the line, Texas was going to enforce its borders, you were going to do it the right way or no way in Texas, these people would have gone somewhere else. We would not have had to have the buildup of people here on our border. Yep. We wouldn't have had to have that buildup, because the word would have gone out the same way that they were getting the word, come to America, come to America, come to America. That word would have gone out, don't mess with Texas, don't mess with Texas, don't mess with Texas.
Amen. I remember when Trump was elected, and I was still in the patrol, and I'm gonna referencing as well what happened with the New York City State Attorney General at a local firehouse over there, where they booed her, and yet they cheered for Trump, and now they're being investigated. A lot of firemen are being investigated disciplinary wise for doing that. But I remember when Trump got elected, brother, as agents, we applauded. We applauded because at the time we were fighting against Obama and his DACA, his DACA and his unconstitutional laws and letting illegal aliens remain in and enter in. Even though he deported more than Trump did, we were still having a hard time prosecuting people, and numbers were coming across. But when Trump came into office, brother, they knew that he was going to start enforcing the laws, and he did. And people said, you can't deport everybody. He started deporting people and he going after the sex traffickers and finding them. And so it was amazing, brothers, that there were times, and I was talking to some agents the other day about this, who were there under Trump, And it was amazing because they remember there were times when we had zero apprehension nights, brother.
Yeah.
Not that people weren't crossing,
Yeah.
but we were able to focus on other things, like the big stuff, the big fish.
Yeah.
And going after that, and I'm going to put their names up again here because you're right, Frank. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened at all. I got reports that they could hear cartel members across the other side laughing and mocking.
Yeah, it was reported as well in the news.
Yeah, as they were recovering their bodies. And so Agent Christopher Liu of the United States Border Patrol and Casey Frankowski, Chief Warrant Officer of the New York Army National Guard, and then John Gracia, the 3rd New York State Trooper, all perished in this tragic event, this tragic helicopter accident there in RGV in the Rio Grande Valley, and it shouldn't have happened. And you're right, Frank. Biden has blood on his hands.
Yep.
Biden has blood on his hands. Tony Gonzalez has blood on his hands as well because he's partly to blame on this as well. And that's why I have a hard time even stomaching the fact that people actually voted for this guy.
Yeah, bro. In our county, 1,000 people voted for this guy, man.
It's hard for me to stomach. And then, but I also have a problem with our local leadership on the border continuing to support Democrat policies that continue to allow this to happen. You can't keep throwing money at the problem because we see it doesn't work. It doesn't work, folks.
It just creates a bigger magnet, man.
It creates bigger problems, and more people just continue to come in, and other people. Somebody has to suffer. Somebody has to suffer when you throw money at an issue. Somebody has to sacrifice out of their pocket, and guess who's sacrificing out of their pocket? The American taxpayer.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, and we're the ones who are footing the bill. Money going to the Ukraine, right? Money going towards illegal aliens. Money going to fund the pockets of illegal aliens to remain here.
The non-government organizations for the bus companies that are making money off of it. A lot of these contractors that are involved at the federal and state level, brother, they're also involved. With the Department of Defense, it's all about the money. You said it earlier, the love of money, which allows companies like organizations like Baptist Child and Family Services, Endeavors, Catholic Charities, and the Mission Border Hope down in Eagle Pass. Remember, folks, real quick while I'm on this, Mission Border Hope is the biggest NGO down there in Eagle Pass. Just a month or two ago was a huge epicenter for what was happening. The wife of the director of that Mission Border Hope is married, Mrs. Wheeler. She's married to Victor Wheeler. Victor Wheeler is the editor-in-chief of the Eagle Pass News Leader. And just like they did with me, the Eagle Pass News Leader with Victor Wheeler was lying, slamming. I had to send him a letter of cease and desist. But they're best friends with Tony Gonzalez. The editor-in-chief, Victor Wheeler, is known. People in Eagle Pass know this. He is best friends with Tony Gonzalez. So it is no surprise. Don't be caught off guard. Don't get fooled when you see the Eagle Pass News Leader, whose editor-in-chief is Victor Wheeler, best friends with Tony Gonzalez, running stories against Brandon Herrera. It's part of the way that Tony Gonzalez operates. He uses his mindless minions out there because he throws money at them. And so that's what they did with me. That's what they did with my friend Raul Reyes, and they're doing it now with Brandon Herrera.
And I want to remind, if you're watching our program and you voted for Tony Gonzalez, folks, you got to remember, he was censored by Texas GOP parties.
The Republican Party, Texas.
Republican Party of Texas. He was censored, and he was advised not to run as a Republican. They told him not to run as a Republican. And why was he censored? Because of exactly what we've been.
He betrayed the platform.
He betrayed the platform. He betrayed President Trump. He's betrayed Texas and the American people. And yet, if you're watching this and you voted for him, folks, once he starts going back on his word, which he's going to do again, because he's done it over and over again.
He's a liar from day one.
Yep, you're going to hold some of the burden on this, and partly to blame. So I'm telling you, this runoff is coming. Look,
May 28th.
May 28th. This runoff is coming. This runoff, get back to the polls and get him out of there.
And so the effort now has to be, for people to stay engaged. And I'm double checking something here. Yep. I'm pretty sure it was May 28th. Is that Tuesday? That's also the Border Patrol birthday, isn't it?
Yeah.
May 28th. It's a 100-year anniversary of the Border Patrol.
100-year anniversary. So do the Border Patrol a favor. Get this guy out, because I'm telling you, agents may not be able to say it, but I'll say it. I'll say for a lot of these agents, right? We can't sustain this guy anymore. We can't put up with this guy anymore.
And so let me remind you, if he's elected to this third term, Manny, he starts qualifying for a lifelong pension, man.
Wow.
So we, the American taxpayers, brother, are going to freaking pay for this guy unless we boot him out right now. We got to get rid of him.
Which is probably his goal. Because there's a lot of these guys like him, Frank. That's why Biden has been in office for 700 years already, because of all this. They become career politicians, brother. Yeah. And and I agree, there should be term limits. You go in there for a certain amount of time, and that's it, and you get out. But these Democrats, they actually want to fight term limits now. They want even presidential term limits. They want to fight. They want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want illegal aliens to vote. Folks, it's ridiculous. And you got people on the right, or supposedly on the right, in the Republican Party who are supposedly conservatives like Tony Gonzalez, and there's a whole bunch of other people as well that want the same thing.
Yeah, look, man, we've been talking about it for such a long time. All these issues that are affecting our country. Yeah, I'm getting all kinds of messages here, but anyways, a lot of stuff happening here locally. Look, we got several runoffs that are going on right here in Valverde County. You guys go to your local area, just look for the 2024 primary results, and they'll tell you outright, who the winners, and they'll also tell you who's in a runoff. And so we've got a couple. Actually, tomorrow, Commissioner's Court in Valverde County, they're going to be looking at the outcome. There was one race in particular, Precinct 1, very tight. There was one vote difference, brother.
Wow.
And so they already knew who's going to be in the runoff, the guy that got the most votes. But there were two guys that were in this very tight race. They were waiting, I think, on the absentee ballots to come in. And so it's going to be decided who came out as number 2. So there's going to be a runoff. There's also a runoff in our district. You're Precinct 3, right? Precinct
yes.
3. Commissioners, there's a runoff there as well. And something I want we had talked about kind of sort of, Manny, was, getting some of these people in front of a camera. Let's lock them down on their responses, man. Let's ask them the hardcore questions and get their answers on the record, for the record. So their answers will live on in perpetuity on video, and we hold their feet to the fire. And that's what you need to do. You need to band together with other like-minded citizens in your community. And hold your own forums. Get together, man. Go reach out to them individually, a group, a family, whatever. But let's do some forums and get these people and ask them hardcore freaking questions, man. Yeah. Ask them hardcore questions and give them plenty of time. One thing that I said, Manny, over and over, I hated about this debate forum template format. They want you to give your best answer in 1 or 2 minutes. These issues are so complex, dude. I mean, it would take weeks. Well, I'm just, it's a little bit, but it would take more than a minute or two, certainly, to flesh out, to lay out the problem. Because look, once you come up with a solution in your mind, that you think is a solution, you need to think about the ramifications. And no matter, hey, look, it's the right solution, it's a good solution, but there will be fallout from that, because every action has a equal and opposite reaction. Every decision has consequences. And even when it's a good decision, there'll be consequences. Yeah, for the most part, good consequences, right, if you do the right thing. But sometimes things get off track and go a little bit crazy out there. But anyways, runoff elections, all are happening throughout Texas. Look at vet your candidates, look at them, go into their social media, go to their website. Ask other folks about it, and then trust but verify. Look, somebody can tell you, man, that guy, he stinks, or hey, that guy is the greatest. Trust but verify. Do your own research, and that is what hurts us, Manny. The American electorate does not do their research as they should.
And it's not that hard to do, folks. It's not. You can go look at their voting record. Look at Tony Gonzalez's voting record. When Obama,
legislation, what he proposed.
Yeah, when Obama was running for president, I went out and looked at his voting record, and folks, you can tell exactly what the heck they're going to do, and as far as the way they think and the way they operate. Look who follow the money. Look who's financing them. Look who's behind them. Look at, like, one of the big reasons Nikki Haley didn't drop out of the race sooner was because she had Democrats backing her, and that wasn't that hard to find out. All you have to do is go look. It's on the news. It's plastered all over the place, but folks don't want to lift up a finger and vet their candidate. And just because they have an R next to their name, standing for Republican, that people just want to throw their vote to it. Let's keep it red. Let's keep it red. But folks, that red may be communism red.
Yeah, I said it's a commie red.
Yeah, it's a commie red.
Well, and look, when I ran against Tony, this was my second time here in this, last week. I actually ran against him as an independent, and I got word that folks out there were like, holding it against me. Whatever, dude. That's kind of, to me, bro. You got this brain surgeon that's trying to, got this surgeon that's trying to get rid of this infectious cancer in the body. Well, not infectious, but it's spreading throughout your body. You're trying to get rid of it. And so they criticize the methodology, of the surgeon, trying to save the body, but they criticize the way that you're going about and doing it. And so part of the reason I ran as an independent was because we had a avowed Democrat who bought into the Democrat agenda. And then we had this closet Democrat, Tony Gonzalez, Rhino, who was, in need of getting excised from the body. We needed to get rid of him. And so that election's over. My election's over, obviously. But we have this runoff going on. People need to vet the candidates. We got all over the electoral map. There's all these races. There were some good outcomes here and there. A bunch of the folks that voted to impeach Paxton, a bunch of them were kicked out. A bunch of them are now in runoffs, hanging on, for dear life. And so what we need to go do is go cut off that rope that they're hanging on to. And look, you wanted to swim, now you sink. And we need to get rid of all these people that voted to impeach Paxton as well.
You got to get back out there in the polls as well, because it's hard. A lot of times people, when people get hear a runoff, they're like, they don't go. They're like, it's just, it's going to end up the way it always ends up. Don't let it end up the way it always ends up, folks. Then we sit back and we complain about we need change and we don't do anything about it. Folks, stuff needs to be done. I was this video made me feel pretty good.
Let's throw it up.
I was talking about it with you earlier.
Crank it up.
For those who don't know, President Trump showed up at the last UFC event, the last UFC 299 event, and I was pretty amazed at the way he was introduced when he showed up. It's pretty amazing. I want to share it with you because it just makes me feel good that there's still hope, right? So let's see real quick.
With Conor McGregor also making his way to the octagon. The 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White. And lost in the pageantry is just how big a mixed martial arts fan Donald Trump is. He sits octagon.
It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool because they actually say making his way to the octagon, right?
Gonna go fight.
Yes, President, and it's going to be a fight. And I kind of so that's one of the big reasons I threw that video up there because of that. Because making his way to the octagon. Look, folks, he isn't in a fight. However you feel about Donald Trump, like I know he's a polarizing figure. I know he is,
people accuse folks of, hey, that's a cult of Trump, whatever. Man, most Americans don't see him as a literal savior, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, bro. That's the language of the left. And I ran into a lot of people, bro. You call themselves Republican. They hate the guy for whatever reason. But look, I guess they want 4 more years of Biden, man. Is what those folks want.
But look at the contrast, right? You had Biden apologizing to a murderer for calling him an illegal alien, for which he is, right? He is an illegal alien, right? And you had him kowtowing to the left because of that, and the left went nuts for supposedly offending a murderer who probably doesn't care what he's called at all.
Who's in our country illegally? He violated our laws
and murdered. And he was actually arrested times before for assault. I'm not even going to say his name, but he was arrested times before for assault on women. And here he finally murdered one, Laken Riley. But look at the contrast. Here's President Trump, right? A picture of President Trump with Laken Riley's grieving parents, right? And he apologizes. He actually apologizes to the family, right? And the left goes nuts because of Trump meeting with the family. And I praise God that the Riley's family didn't show up to the State of the Union address, because it was ridiculous. Biden couldn't even pronounce her name. He wouldn't even say her name, and then he kowtows to the left and apologizes to her murder. Folks, it's sickening. Yeah. This man should not be in office, and those who support him as well, they should be out of office.
Well, talk about those who support him. Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez supports Biden.
Well, he was running around crying like, I'm not going to go there, but crying like a whatever, because Joe Biden didn't allow him to ride on on Air Force One when Biden went to El Paso.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Tony Gonzalez made such a freaking huge crying, stinking fit about it. He was angry. He was pouting. His mascara was running because, Biden didn't allow him to ride on the plane with him to El Paso. And what they did do is they allowed Tony Gonzalez to go meet with Suzanne Rice. Now, folks, here, let's talk about this a little bit. So he wanted to meet with Biden. Everybody knows, bro, that Biden's a puppet. Everybody knows somebody's pulling his strings. And so Tony Gonzalez actually went and met with one of the string pullers. He actually went and met with one of the puppet masters, Suzanne Rice. You may remember Suzanne Rice was in the Obama, Susan Rice was in the Obama administration. And there you folks, you have the direct link and connection with Tony Gonzalez, Obama, and so he walked out of there with his marching orders. And so that's why he desperately wants to stay in the congressional seat, folks, not just about the money. And he famously told one of his former campaign workers, he famously said, I need this job. I got a lot of kids, is what he told them. But anyways, that's why he wanted to run for office. It's never been about serving the American people, never about caring about his constituents, never about doing what is right for America. Tony Gonzalez has always been about himself, but he is a sold-out globalist. That's why he was running around with Kevin McCarthy. That's why he learned under the wing of Senator Marco Rubio out in Florida, brother. He is a globalist infiltrator in the Republican Party. He went and met with Susan Rice, and got his marching orders straight from Obama, because that's who Susan Rice is working for. Everybody knows that.
That's why Will Hurd also endorsed him as well. So folks, I want to show you the contrast here real quick. In Biden apologizing for calling this guy an illegal alien. Let me put this up here real quick.
The look of surprise on your face when you walked into the chamber and you saw Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, it was priceless. You feigned shock at seeing her. But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the different...
Okay, so now he apologizes, and he says, I shouldn't have used the term illegal. He's an undocumented person, right? Yeah. He's not even an undocumented alien. He's an undocumented person. And then shame on MSNBC. Shame on MSNBC who comes to the defense of this illegal alien murderer.
No surprise there.
By saying who allegedly killed this young woman, right? And shame on MSNBC, man. I mean, they're one of the worst. They're one of the worst, along with CNN and all these other liberal news media outlets, man. But shame on them for trying to defend this illegal alien who murdered an innocent young woman. Not just murdered her, Frank, but he bludgeoned her to death. He beat her to death. Right, and he shouldn't have been in the country, and he came in under the country. And the Biden administration has the gall, Frank, to say that this guy who came into the country illegally didn't come in during the crisis. Folks, he came under Biden's watch, and he should have been deported.
Yeah, and so, man, there's so many aspects to this, so many little threads we could pull on. It's a huge tapestry, a huge rug, I guess you could say. All these threads. And you can pull on them and just go different routes. But look, folks, as we start rounding it up here, going around the bend, we can see kind of take it into the ranch.
Yeah, we've been gone for a couple of weeks, and so I got a lot on my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But most importantly, don't lose sight of the fact that we are in the middle of primary runoff period, season, whatever you want to call it. It's about a 2.5 month period, more or less. The primary election just took place last Tuesday, March 5, and so now, we have this period to May 28th. So it's a little April, May, yeah, a little over 2 months. And so don't lose sight of the fact that you have people that either need to get fired from in your community, in your district. They need to get fired and replaced with the right person. Now, there's some folks that are going to have to wrestle with, a lesser of two evils per se, and that's always a reality, bro.
Yeah.
Of the political process. At times, you wind up with a lesser of two evils. In this race, I will tell you, in Congressional District 23, the choice was very clear from the beginning. As soon as Will Hurd was challenged by my good friend Raul Reyes, he got out of the race. Tony Gonzalez came in. We started sounding the alarm about Tony Gonzalez, how terrible he was going to be. We told you he was going to be this bad. And so there are people still in this district, brother. I don't know, man. I guess they live in a rock, in a cave, under a rock, in a cave somewhere. I don't know. For some people, Tony's doing all right. For some people, he thinks he's, they're okay, but that's because they're moderates, they're progressives, they're liberal. And so I don't doubt, especially in counties like Maverick and Bexar County, bro, that stuff took place there. There's rumors, they need to be tracked down, obviously, about, votes being bought, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. And that's why, we need these citizens to get involved, to discern what is the truth. What is the truth? If it's lies, if it's just a rumor, it's just lies and a rumor. Good. Expose that, but if it's not, then you need to get on the trail like a good bloodhound and track it down. Track it down. And in this district here, I just, as we fixing to close it here, I want to leave you with this thought. So we've been trying to get a good person. We've been trying to get good people into office here in Congressional District 23. And so that means getting rid of the wrong person, the bad person. The infiltrator, globalist infiltrator, Tony Gonzalez, he's really a Democrat. He should just go ahead and he should have been running as a Democrat from the get-go because that's what he is. And what I mean by that is an ideological Democrat. Mm-hmm. And so but this is a chance now to get rid of him, man, because look, I tried by helping Raul Reyes in 2020. I went out on my own as an independent, as the only constitutional conservative to get rid of him. And in this last race, which just ended, at least the first part of it, Manny, there were other candidates that jumped in because we needed to get rid of Tony Gonzalez. And so now there's a runoff between this traitor, Tony, and Brandon Herrera. Yep. So now it's up to you guys. Go do your homework. Go do your homework, not just for this race, but for all the races. And I'll say it, we cannot let Tony Gonzalez get this third term here in this district. He's been dangerous. He's been bad. He's been destructive. And so now people need to galvanize. Don't go to sleep. Don't say, oh, well, the race is over, election's over. No. There's still work to be done, not just in this district, but all over the place.
Yeah, and get out there, folks. Pay attention to what's happening around you. And if you know people that have no clue, educate them. Right after the election, I ran into a friend of mine, and we were talking. And sad to say, he told me, he goes, "Yeah, I just voted for Tony Gonzalez." I said, "Why did you vote for Tony?" He goes, "Well, he won the last time as well, and he's been in office." And so I started to explain to him all the things that Tony had done. He's like, "Man, if I had known that, I wouldn't have voted for the guys." Like, bro, you need to that's why you need to educate yourself, man.
Research, man.
Yeah, and research. It doesn't take much, folks. But we people walk through life and they just accept whatever's happening is happening. And look, I'm all about the will of the Lord and whatnot, and God knows the end from the beginning. But He also calls us to righteous living and to uphold righteousness and to
be involved, to be salt and light.
Exactly, and to even expose darkness. He says, yes. Right in the book of Ephesians, He tells us expose the darkness. And so folks, as believers, of course, the ultimate weapon, the ultimate victory we have is in the gospel, right? I mean, the book of Romans tells us, Ralph Schroll, the Apostle Paul tells us, "For I'm not ashamed of the good news. It is the power of God for salvation to everyone who trusts, to the Jew first and also to the Greek or the Gentile." So folks, that it is the gospel that's going to save us. It's the gospel that's going to save everyone, right? If you believe in it, if you put your faith and your hope and your trust, because reality is not everybody's going to enter into the kingdom of God. It's a narrow road. Only few find it. And so many are called, but only few find it, is what the scriptures tell us. But the reality is, folks, no political party is going to save us. only Yeshua, only Messiah can save you.
Amen,
and
bro.
only faith and trust in Him can allow you to into the kingdom of heaven. But until He returns, or until we pass on, whatever comes first, get out there and fight the good fight, folks. We have children that are depending on us. Their very lives are depending on us, and to help save them. They save their very lives, and we have women that are depending on us to get the right people in office as well, to enforce the laws, to help save America. Right, and so we see the road that it's going on right now, and I'm not happy with it. I want a future for my children. You know, we've talked about it many times, Frank. There's times I would rather just be, studying the scriptures, riding spending time with my family, riding my motorcycle, going fishing, camping, whatever.
Good stuff.
Doing a lot of the good stuff, and which I find joy in and freedom, because we are free. But folks, there are people who are trying to take away those freedoms, and we need to stand up for them.
Yeah, bro, and that's what drives us, man. I mean, yeah, you're right, man. We retired. I retired at the end of 2018. You retired what year, man?
2021.
21, man. And but we care about our country, and we know that in this generation, such a time as this, folks like us are out here involved. There's stuff, people, naturally ask, well, what you gonna do now, Frank? Look, folks, I've always said it, and you said it earlier, man. This nation. The only salvation, the only true hope is the Lord Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's it. I said it in the campaign. We have our rules, we have our procedures, we have our laws, we have our party platform, and then we have the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. But above all that, Manny, is the Word of God. Amen. Because nations rise and fall. Civilizations crumble and disappear into the books of history, But the Word of God remains.
Amen.
And you know what else remains besides the Word of God? Our eternal spirit, brother.
Our eternal soul.
Our eternal spirit. We don't take anything. We don't take riches, glory, fame, nothing from this world other than our spirit. And so if Jesus is not your Lord and Savior, get right with God now, because you're not guaranteed the next second. You're not guaranteed that the moment you walk out of your house or out of wherever you're at, that death doesn't come and take you. And so you need to get right with God. Get that Jesus insurance. And like a good friend of ours used to say all the time, you better get right or you're going to get left.
Exactly right, brother.
Yeah.
But folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us and staying with us. We really appreciate it. I mean, we're just a couple of guys.
Thanks to viewers.
A couple of retired agents, that just want to, tell people what's happening, man, and how we feel about things. And whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we appreciate you, showing up and watching and whatnot. Later on, you'll find us on Spotify as well, Amazon Music. If you want to download the audio portion, we're on YouTube and also Rumble.
And don't forget the Podbean what is it?
And Podbean. Yeah, we're also on Podbean as well. So please go there, download the audio portion later, share it with your friends and your family and whatnot. Like we always say, like and share. Like and share. Yeah. We don't make anything out of this, folks, except just trying to get the word out, man.
Getting our opinions out there. But you know what, brothers, sisters, we're gonna talk truth. Sometimes it's gonna bite. Yeah. As my wife says, it's not that people loved what was the guy's name? Barabbas. Oh. It's not that they loved him. But they hated the truth. They hated Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And so we're going to bring you the truth. There's going to be those that don't like it because it stings, it hurts, it cuts, but it is the truth. And we always say trust and verify. But, as our show is named Tacobout It Live, we're probably going to go eat some tacos.
Yeah, get a taco.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so, folks, I want to thank you so much. God willing, we'll be here next Tuesday, 8 a.m., Tacobout It Live with Frank and Manny. We want to say thank you so much for joining us. And with that, we'll say God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Texas.